Happy Monday from St. Peters, Missouri, East Lansing, Michigan, and Sugar Hill, Gang, Georgia.
Sugar Hill, baby.
Dun, 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 dun.
I think they should change the Guardian songs every quarter or something.
They're doing it for Christmas.
I know, but I would love to see them because that's easy. That's an easy thing to change.
I know, dude. How easy is it, dude? It's like hit shuffle.
But the problem is,
it would be so good.
The problem is, because that's good for repeat guests like us. The problem is, oh man, I go once a year and I love the selection you got right now.
Do you think people would be ticked if they got down there like, I came all the way from Australia because I wanted to hear Iran by the flock of seagulls?
No.
My trip.
I mean, there would be a small percentage.
There would be.
Totally. Not the same percentage that brings lounge flies to the parks, but a percentage.
47% of people in the parks have lounge flies.
She hates us.
I know she does.
She's just straight up ignoring.
That's what you do. I like it. We've taught her well, and she's taught us.
It's amazing that our wives are still married to us.
I know, seriously. It's like Ricky's our little sister, and
I'm volunteering for this, and I'm still put up with you too.
We just abuse each other. That's all.
I know.
Hello to Rhonda Lee up in Canada. Margie, what's going on, Margie? And Alan is out in hot Anaheim. We got out of there before it got hot. I saw somebody tweet yesterday at the Big Brother house. It was 100 degrees. Studio City.
Dude, I just saw a funny photo from the feeds. I won't say it because people might not be caught up, but it was hilarious. It featured a very annoying house guest.
Oh, dude,
in the pool.
Oh yeah, was it Monty?
No, it wasn't Monty.
Okay,
I'm starting to. So last time we chatted this, I was 10 days behind, and my thoughts, I made some comments, I wish I could go back. Because I made a comment about a guest, I kind of like them. And then, last night, I absolutely hate them because I got caught up a little bit. And, oh, my God, I can't believe I said I like that person.
See, I haven't seen the show in the last 4 episodes. I'm 4 TV episodes behind, but I've been, I know what's happening in the house. I've been watching the feeds, and
I'm still 4 TV episodes behind. I was, 7 behind. So
the problem is when the Cardinals get hot, I watch the ball game instead of the TV shows. If the Cardinals are playing terrible, I watch the TV shows. But, we swept the Yanks. What? Yeah. Come in, bring it big cities. Bring it big cities. Come in the Midwest. We'll take care of you, Aaron Judge.
Then the Dodgers take care of my Padres. You like how I say my Padres? I'm not Padres.
Yeah, take your Juan Soto, your Manny Machado, your Tatis Jr., who's getting ready to come back, your Josh Hader. Get out of here. They're 1-4 since the acquisition of
I'm still pulling for them, man. That'd be something to make a deep run the year. It's not I've never been to San Diego before, but I feel I would have brought some magic. Because I actually went to Petco this time.
It's kind of how I feel about the Dodgers. I was in that park, man. I was so close to the booth Vin Scully sat in, because my seats were right there, in the middle.
So when the Cardinals get bounced and it's an NLCS of Dodgers Padres, we'll have that rival between us.
I got my little bobblehead of the guy that, ironically enough, knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs a couple years ago. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was the guy. See, Chris Young. Anyway,
brutal.
All right, let's pop up questions. We have one in the house. Anybody has questions, put them in the chat, please. But we have a Disneyland question to start. Disneyland dining.
Mike,
you can answer those questions.
Mike,
now.
What?
Mike, do you want me to switch computers?
Possibly, because she is kind of freezing up.
You are.
Yeah, let me switch because it came up now. So I'll be back.
Okay. All right. It's a good thing we talk baseball, so she could.
Boom! Here we go. She ain't coming back. Let's do the show.
All right, here we go. Welcome to
episode 2133 to the Our Guest Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman.
There you go.
You know how many times I've heard that?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Paul's calling it. Read his comment. He just got back from a place that was not Disney on vacation. He's like, it's amazing how the food isn't that expensive. Some places, though.
Some places, man.
Some places just as expensive.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I justify Disney prices. Because I go to Mackinac Island or something, and it's worse, Or I think Universal's prices are way higher for food and stuff than Disney's.
Actually, when I notice it is when I get home. When you get home and then you go to LS Tech or something.
Oh, yeah, I know.
This meal's $9.99 for my combo. This thing could be $22 or $30.
But in town, things are expensive too. I go to Culver's, just a quick Culver's, And it's like $35 for the three of us to eat at Culver's. I mean, I know like at Disney, like it'd be like 50. Yeah, like, that shouldn't be that much in town just to get some chicken tenders and a fries, you know?
Yeah, my meal is always $9.99 at LS Tech, and I know that sucker be $27.99 or something. Then it is so good. It is so good. Yeah, and the airport Coke is only $3. Seems like a deal. Exactly. I get my case of Coke for $4.50 or something up at Target, and I got a Disney. I got a Target gift card the other day with it because I bought 4.
Oh yeah, I like it when they do those.
There's a little special there. I was like, "What's this about, Pam?" Get Ricky back in here. Here she comes. Oh,
do you prefer this? Yeah,
way better on that one.
Oh, the camera's way better. It's just the computer sucks.
Yeah, I look like I'm like in some 1990s camera.
No, the camera's way better on this one. It's just the computer sucks. So.
Oh wait, anyway. Jennifer, she is in. I didn't see that. How you say it? Antigua? Lots
There's
of
G there.
Antigua.
I think you say it Antigua. Maybe not. I don't know.
But if there's palm trees, I want to be there. So.
I know she's.
Oh no, there's not a T in there. Anguilla. Anguilla.
I don't think it's Anguilla.
I said Anguilla.
She's somewhere. That's all that matters. She's somewhere there where there's palm trees. I don't care what it's called.
Not in O'Fallon like she normally is. She's not down on 364 Highway K like she normally is. Oh dang! Paul went to LS Teca. There you go. It was pretty good. It is pretty dang good. It's nothing fancy. It's small. It's in a strip mall. It's like Las Fuentes. Solid though.
So Wendy, who's a lizard, was at LS Teco last week. Like I was like, oh dang, you should have called me up. I would have been there.
Who was?
Wendy. I can't think of her. Oh my god, I feel like a jerk. I can't think of her last name. But she lives like in Grand Rapids area. I've done some races with her and Julie. Like we've finished like a princess half together before. But she was over in East Lansing, man. I was like, dang, you should have called me up.
There's going to be a question kind of about how we met today, I think, on the show that came in this week. But here's one thing. It's, again, for our listeners that are here early, another funny thing. Scott and I, brothers from another mother, our favorite Mexican restaurants, mine is LS Teca. And this is just totally out of the blue that it happened this way. What's your favorite Mexican restaurant?
LS Teco.
Mine here in Atlanta is LS Teca. Well, actually, it changed names. It changed names. It's Chaputo or something like that now, but it was LS Teca.
Oh, and it rhymes with vanilla, so it's Antilla. There's
no T. It's
Anguilla.
But vanilla. My LS Teco
oh my God,
has a rooftop.
Yeah, you kill ours.
But it's like the sight line has gotten ruined because they've been like building like condos and stuff. You know, like I sent you that photo the other day from the Graduate hotel I was at. So that Graduate Hotel like blocks LS Teco's view now, which is kind of a bummer, but still cool spot, man.
But the urinal was awesome.
The urinal that was Michigan was so great.
That was the best.
Dude, that entire hotel was like perfect. Like, I mean, like I kind of want to just like live there. Like, can I just rent like a room here now, like forever? Like everything was seen Michigan State.
So when we get Paige out of her room for her basement, I'm getting the studio. Her room's going to be the podcast studio in my office, and then we're making the whole basement Mizzou. But I'm going to paint. We have a full bathroom down here. I'm painting that toilet blue and red.
Like the Kentucky, yes. It was so good.
Yeah, it's just a little Jayhawk right there in the bowl.
I just rolled up, and I'm like, because like the first thing I noticed, like the wallpaper. So I know we want to get through the episode, but like in the 90s. The early 2000s, the Michigan State basketball team was so awesome. Mateen Cleese, Morris Peterson, and they were all from Flint. So they called themselves the Flintstones. And so like I walked in and there was this wallpaper of like them as like animated characters, like in like the car that the Flintstones would like drive. Like I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like Flintstones themed wallpaper. And then I turned around and then I saw the U of M urinal. I'm like, oh my God. That was like 112 SGs. Okay.
Like, yes, get me a pitcher of water because I don't have to go to the bathroom, but I just need to now.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway, this is a pre-show. That's why you come early. I'm just telling you. Yeah, we have a meet. We have a meet up at LS Teca. We'll have to do that. I'll give my heads up because there's not that many tables. It's small, way smaller than Las Fuentes. Las Fuentes is underwater because the floods a few weeks ago. It was under halfway up the building. Did you see those pictures, Ricky, online?
I saw it on the national news.
Yeah, dude, it was halfway to the roof.
So like the spot that they were like reporting from was the parking lot right there in like the national news, like NBC was reporting I can see the Dollar Tree, and I'm like, I know exactly where that is.
Still closed because I mean it was halfway up to the roof because Coldwater Creek behind it backed up with that big day of the rain. Yeah, it was nuts. Anyway, all right, stop talking about Mexican food. You're smart.
Sorry, just ripping out a piece of paper so I can take notes.
Look at you. I got my iPad because you had bought an Apple Pencil for
Emily. Yeah.
Emily, so now I've been using one. Like I can't read
because she draws all the time. That's why she's constantly using that in drawing. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, it's pretty nice for taking notes or going on the phone. Yeah, I have terrible handwriting. I should just type.
So I have terrible handwriting too, and I've learned last week. It was last Friday. It's because of how I hold the pen. Like I hold it like the way you shouldn't. And Elizabeth was trying to teach me on how I should hold the pen. And I'm going to have to reteach myself how to write because I absolutely cannot write the way she showed me. But she's going to give me like those lines, you know, that you would get in elementary school on how to write letters.
Look at this. I do need some of that. It says BR Podcast.
Yeah, nice.
Because you got free engraving. Okay, so here we go. What number is this? We got to get, I wrote it down here.
It's almost 6 o'clock.
2133. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2133 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents still over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week and you are here with us because we are going to answer your listener questions. We're going to bounce all over the place. Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland, Walt Disney World. We'll talk some dining, some theme parks. That's why I love these shows because we get to hear what you have questions about and we get to hit many topics in 30 to 35 minutes, which is always a lot of fun. So joining me today to answer those listener questions, we have the expert herself back again from the mouseforless.com. We have Ricky. Ricky, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to be back and here and answering you guys' listener questions. So not Mike and Scott's, but everybody else's.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep our questions to a minimum. So right now, what are you feeling the most? You feeling land, world, or cruise line today? Like, what's your groove today? Do you think?
I feel like world is going to be my jam today, but we'll see. So.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Now, this is a listener question for Ricky, real quick, and it's just got to be something right off the top of your head. In the pre-show, which you got to jump in here, we usually go live on Mondays around 5:30 Eastern-ish is when we kind of hit the button to go live. We had a discussion about, Cosmic Rewind is going to have Christmas songs this year, right? They're going to switch out the songs at Christmas. But Scott says that they should rotate through songs like a jukebox, like every few months. It's not that hard.
No.
It's an iPod or a hard drive somewhere in the back of the building somewhere. Why can't we have these songs changed a little bit more regularly? So let me ask you this, Ricky, putting you on the spot because I didn't want to tell you ahead of time. So I want you to have to think quick. You get to throw in one retro song right now that is not in the rotation that you're going to rock out to as you spin and almost get ill as you see a raccoon with a big old gun. What are you adding to the Cosmic Rewind soundtrack right now? Not a Christmas song.
No. Okay, so the first thing that popped in my head, although it's not like it's older, I think, than obviously the 70s or 80s, but I was thinking like I Want You Back by the Jackson 5.
Oh, you're going way back.
I'm going way back. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
I think that's in the Guardians Mission
Guardians. Okay, I haven't been a Mission Breakout, but I feel like that would be a lot of fun to jam out to while you're, gliding along like that. Like it's peppy and exciting, and I just feel like that would be a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. Get that approved, carried. Okay, so here's one that I had. I'm going to throw it in here because I'm scared Scott the chances of Scott stealing this are like 1 in a million, but knowing how we are on the same wavelength so often, it could happen. So I'm throwing mine in real quick before I introduce them. Mine would be by Captain and Tennille. Love Will Keep Us Together.
I love that.
I love that.
Dude, how sweet would that be? You're Anyway, you're going around. Yeah, I'm still out riding the ride. We talked about that on Sunday night, but I mean, you could tell me about how it goes. Anyway, speaking of the man himself, Scott Gardner's joining us from up in Lansing, Michigan. What's up, Scott? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Mike. I'm hoping that we get, actually, I'm not hoping, but it's most likely going to happen because I'm so hungry at the time of recording. We're going to get a lot of dining questions today, I feel like, because that would just be, par for the course. You're hungry, you get questions about food.
All right. Well, okay. First question actually on the screen over here. The second screen is a dining question. So you teed me up, and I'm ready to tee off. But I got to ask you, what song are you adding to Guardians, because you brought up this topic in the pre-show?
It's so random, and you're not going to think this is going to be my answer. It's the first thing that came to my head. I'm going to put some Wham out there. I'm going to go with "Wake Me Up Before You Go." Because that ride just wakes you
That's
up.
awesome. Yes. All right,
This
I like
is
that.
so good. You should totally do this.
All
I
right.
don't know. I think it would just be kind of fun,
Yeah. My second choice would be I would walk 500 miles. It's a terrible song.
There's so many great combos.
I
There's so
hate
many
that
great
song.
songs.
See, I would puke before it even left the building if that
It's
song.
a running joke with my best friend. Whenever we hear that song, we text each other. So that's why it holds a special place in my heart. So
that song was on so much back in the day. Oh my god!
Like if you knew with confidence that your like AirPods would stay like on the ride, like you could just like kind of do your own song, that'd be kind of fun to try. But
you could, okay.
But you'd be losing your AirPods.
So here's what I want though. Tweet me your song you would add to the soundtrack. I'll retweet them this week as we're out there. I'll give a little disclaimer of what we're doing on Twitter. So again, at Be Our Guest Mike, let me know, because I think this is gonna be fun. A retro song you would add, and why Captain and Tennille is the perfect song for Cosmic Rewind. Caitlin's got a question. It says Disneyland dining. I got my Disneyland shirt on. I'm hungry. I am ready for this question. She says, I'm planning a solo trip to Disneyland this November. I'm planning to dine at Blue Bayou and Lamplight Lounge for my third and final park day. Do you have any additional dining reservation recommendations, or would you choose quick service? I'll have the hopper, so open to dining at either park. Thanks in advance. So she's got Blue Bayou. She's got Lamplight Lounge, but she's got a third day open. She's wondering if she should just go counter or quick service on that last day, or should she get one more ADR? Ricky, what say you?
There are so many fantastic quick service options at Disneyland that I think I would go with quick service, to be perfectly honest. If I would suggest an actual like dining experience, sit down, I might suggest like the Plaza Inn. But honestly, I really think I would just go with quick service if it was me.
Okay, I would not.
Did you guys not have a good experience at Plaza Inn? I missed that.
It's pretty good because we did the Main Street Electrical.
Yeah,
we did the dining package, so it wasn't like, because I like breakfast over there. You get like the characters, which I don't even know if the characters are there right now. But yeah, the Plaza Inn is a good experience for sure.
It was very enlightening.
Got it.
Light bulb. Okay, so let's just say I agree though. The counter service at Disneyland rocks. I mean, totally good there, but I mean, never hurts to have an ADR kind of there locked in. So Scott, if you were going to offer a third one, you could also look at something at Grand Californian, or you could. There's other options, but what would you pick for a third ADR?
So I'm actually going to go to California Adventure. I like how she's doing the Lamplight, Blue Bayou. Mike, you've done that one as well. Something we didn't do, Mike, but I've done it in the past. I really like is Carthay Circle. It's a nice signature. You walk in on like the main street of DCA, and like that, just the experience in there is cool. There's an awesome lounge up there, so even if you just want to hang out at the lounge if you're solo, because that could be a great option too. So I think Carthay Circle would be a great option.
And what about, Carnation Cafe? Like, I really like that place. Now, we ate outside, which I think was better because the weather was great. She's going to be there in November. I would assume the weather would be tremendous still at that time of year. And especially if you're eating outside, if you get, I didn't look and see how the tables were laid out, but I mean, if she could sit at a little table for two outside, you could just watch the people coming and going down Main Street, enjoy the weather, I think we had chili. You got a bonus in your chili. You probably don't get that every time. They had a nice burger, a wedge salad. I mean, that sounds like a good meal too.
Yeah. Plaza. All these are really good. I kind of want to join her in November now, Mike, because I think we'll be having those Disneyland blues by then, right?
Dude, I'm so ready to go back. I just keep wearing this shirt, hoping that I'll just wake up on the West Coast sometime, but it hasn't happened yet. Alan, I'm going to see you out there soon. Anyway, Alan's got a question in live chat. Speaking of Alan, he's out in Anaheim right now. He says, recommendations for transportation from the airport to Walt Disney World. Take on the minivans. So I've ridden in minivans. Scott, have you done minivans?
Not from the airport, but yeah, I've definitely done minivans. Yeah.
Well, they're not offering it from the airport right now. So,
but they may.
They may, but I just want to specify that right now they are not offering the minivans from the airport.
Right. But I mean, my take on them, though, in general for the minivans, if they were to come back by race weekends, I mean, they're nice. They're a luxury. I mean, the cast members are awesome that are driving them. They're spacious. You do get to pick your own music. And it's just, it's like, I mean, it's very luxurious. I mean, that is kind of, for me, top of the line. You're paying a lot extra as a luxury tax on that to ride those, but they're cool. And I mean, you got that cool factor of, get your picture with the driver in front of the minivan. It looks really cool on social. I'm kind of that kind of person. I think it's kind of fun. But for suggestions right now, I really have 3 options. This is what I tell my guests over at the Magic for Less. I mean, you got a few. You got Mears Connect and Sunshine Flyer, which are the 2 big motor coaches. And those are kind of going to be very similar to Magical Express. And you could check those out. And the Sunshine Flyer intrigues me. I haven't done either one of these yet, but the Sunshine Flyer is the one kind of looks like the train. And I think kids get like little conductor's hats when they get on. And they're running some specials currently where kids can ride free for certain dates, travel windows. So if you want to check that out, Mears Connect is almost exactly a clone of Magical Express because it's run by Mears, who ran Magical Express. You just got to pay for it. We also recommend over the Magic for Less a couple of private transfer companies you might want to look at: Happy Limo and Tiffany Town Car. They both have decent rates, great vehicles, friendly drivers, and they do right by my guests. So those are a lot of, just depends. You want to have somebody stand there with the iPad. That's pretty sweet. And they help you retrieve your bags, get into a Lincoln Town Car, some kind of a private van. You can get a limousine. Scott, we've done we've had a party bus with our 2 families with like 8 or 9 of us. And that actually, for a cruise, we went over to Port Canaveral, and it cost about the same to get the party bus as it did Disney Cruise Line transfers for like 9 people.
The only thing I was missing from that, like, because it was great, like we were waiting outside Coronado, the bus rolls up, and Mike, I think the movie Teen Wolf. I just wanted to go Teen Wolf on it and just say those waves are mine and get on the top of that bus, and just dance all the way to Port Canaveral. The driver didn't advise of that, so we just got to hang out inside the bus instead. But that was a lot of fun.
And we could never get the radio working all the way to the coast. I mean, just I know, sad. It had a mirror ball in the thing, but we got
Captain Tennille. No Captain. There was no Captain Tennille on that ride. No, unfortunately.
Love did not keep us together. Okay, next, Michael's got a question here. He says, "Hey, Mike and BOGP crew, I'm taking my wife to the world for her birthday in February. This will be our first trip without the kids. Comparing prices, Grand Destino Club Level and Wilderness Lodge Standard Room are similarly priced and within our budget. We haven't stayed at either, and Wilderness would be my easy pick if we had the kids going, but Coronado looks like it would be a nice spot for couples." He put hashtag, "Is this romantic?"
Yes.
I love that. The club level option is also intriguing as we have never done that before. What would you pick? Mike is in Buffalo, New York, and of course he says, "Go Bills." I'm sure he's part of the Bills Mafia. He's
baby.
Excited up there. All right. Hey, I like the Bills because very small market team. Go beat the big guys, especially.
I wonder how many tables he goes through every Sunday. Like is this one of the guys I've ever seen like that gets dropped through a table on game?
I hope. I hope we'll send a video of that happening. All painted in the blue and red, yes. And the Jim Kelly jersey. Just ready to go. So yeah. Okay. I have an opinion, but Scott, where would you go? Wilderness Lodge? I mean, that's deluxe, but Coronado is a moderate, but you're talking club level, similar price. This is a good question.
Yeah. I'm coming from the same perspective as he is, where I've never done club level before. So my answer is Grand Destino Club Level, because I've always been curious about it. And I think that's a great offer that they have at Coronado, like at Grand Destino's. Like, you don't see that for like moderates, so like take advantage of the club level. Give that a shot, and then next time with the kids, do Wilderness Lodge. So that's my answer.
I agree. Ricky, what about you?
I think I'm also leaning that way as well. My heart initially says Wilderness Lodge because that's one of my favorite hotels of all the hotels at Disney. But the club level part really is a nice experience. I've not been club level there, but I've actually been in the lounge. It's a long story, but anyway, and the lounge is very nice up there. So yeah, I would probably, and since it is adults only, I would probably consider Coronado, as Grand Destino. I think that's where I would go.
Yeah, that's carrying the day. I would go Coronado club level because I do recall Pam has stayed club level at Coronado and Grand Destino. And she said it was a superior experience. She said they've taken what they learned at all these deluxe hotels and really transferred it to this club level lounge and the whole experience at the top of Grandestino. And like you said, I mean, if you think the Wilderness Lodge is going to be the experience for the entire family, Coronado feels a little more, couples oriented. Do it. This is an
Coronado is awesome. You got 3 bridges there. You got great. I mean, I'm going to be there in a week, so yeah, like I'm definitely going to talk up Coronado right now. But just if the price is right on the club level, I would just say take the opportunity and do the club level while you can.
So I like this question that came in earlier this week, and it's from Will in South Carolina, and it just says, "Is Eli Drinkwitz on the hot seat?" Which, if you don't know, that's the Mizzou head coach. He's not on the hot seat yet. We're going to have a good year. But he says to his real question, and then he realized a few hours later after I got back at him immediately because of his lead in on this email, it was clickbait is what it was. And it worked. Like, you do anything like that to me, it works. Like, it got me fired up already. Because when I see somebody from South Carolina messing with my head coach, back off, man. Anyway, so we're just playing. But the thing is, he had a question, Scott, it was really about you. He was asking legitimately what time you think he can be off a cruise ship if he grabs all of his own stuff coming into Port Canaveral. What time? You were off like by 7:30 at 8, I think. It was really early.
I think I took a photo of myself in the parking garage at like 7:57 in the morning. So yeah, you can be back in the parking garage by 8 o'clock. If you skip breakfast, you keep the bags in your room the night before, and you're just ready, you're showered and ready to go from when they clear the ship. You can get out by 8 and be in your car for sure.
All right, Will, MIZ. Okay, Rhonda Lee's got a question. We always appreciate Rhonda Lee being here from up in Canada. She says, my question, since Scotty G says mainly dining, best suggestion for a celebration meal after completing my first Dopey challenge. And it's going to happen here, and it is around the corner. We are in August, people. I mean, before you know it, we're going to be reaching for the mittens and the stocking caps. And once that happens, boy, it'll be, especially Rhonda Lee up in Canada, it'll be time to get serious and heading south for these 48.6 magical miles. But let's start praying right now for nice weather for marathon weekend. Not too hot, not too cold, no precipitation. Let's make it happen. But anyway, let me ask Ricky, actually. Ricky, it's a huge celebration. I mean, Dopey Challenge is a big deal. I mean, if you're going to go big for a meal, like me, I don't like to spend a lot of money, but after running that far, I can separate. Yeah, I can pull out the checkbook. I can pull out the credit card.
What are you doing? Going back in time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, when I went to the beach, Mike, though, this last weekend, like, I kid you not, they had a sign that said cash, credit card, check. Like, wow. And dude, in the booth was taking forever. I swear people were paying by check to put the card. I was like, I just want to go to the beach.
Traveler's checks. No, okay. So, Ricky, where would you go? I mean, Rhonda Lee's going to have this, like, I mean, you get to, this is like the world is your oyster after doing something like that. Once somebody wheels you there in your wheelchair, what are you going to do?
Well, I think it depends on if you want something nice or if you want something super, super filling. So for the nicer options, I'm going to suggest like a California Grill, a Topolino's Terrace, something along those lines. But if you're looking to like really, really fill up, I'm going to say something like Ohana or Cape May Cafe or, something along those lines. That way, just go for one of those buffet options. You can even do like Crystal Palace, something like that. But just to really like fill up because you've just run, 48 miles. So that might be a good celebratory thing too.
0.6. Do not give up that.
Sorry, 48.6.
Don't play, boy. 0.6 matters. It's seriously, that's the difference between getting that last medal. Okay, I'm just playing with you, Ricky.
I know it does.
I will tell you, after my very first full marathon in 2015, it wasn't a Dopey, but it was my first marathon. We did hoop-de-doo review that night, and so not the best idea. But the thing is, I was more hungry the next day, but I destroyed fried chicken. Like, no, bones were flying, strawberry shortcake. It was whipped cream everywhere. I was killing it because it was unlimited, right? So that was a good thing. And the show was fun, but I was pretty exhausted that night. Like, cause it was like a 6 o'clock show, but that was something I did. And it was kind of fun because it was like, it was a group of us. I was there with Mary Jo Collins and Mark Lorenzo and some other people. So it was a good time. What about you, Scott? What'd you do?
So for Monday, so that's what you do, Mike. So like Ricky talked about Crystal Palace.
This was on Sunday. That was,
and you talked about being hungry the next day because that is always true. Like, you are going to want to go to town on Monday. So for Monday, I like to book that late breakfast at Crystal Palace that bleeds into lunch so you can get all the food options. So that's what I like to do on Monday. Because on Sunday, you're just going to feel so accomplished and so exhausted. You just want to have a sit down, nice meal. And what I'm actually going to suggest is something that I normally don't go to, but with it being your first Dopey, I think it's going to be brilliant, is you go to the Storybook Dining at the Wilderness Lodge, where Dopey himself
will be there
as a character.
So, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so smart.
That's why we got you here.
So you sit down, you relax with a nice meal, and Dopey's going to come to your table, and you're going to get a great photo with that medal, celebrating with Dopey. That's the best way to celebrate.
You're not even chasing the guy around anymore. Like, it's just, it's all calm at that point.
He actually came to chase you at that point. Like, he's like, wait, I want to get a photo with you. You just finished Dopey.
That's a good point. It's probably a hard ADR to get. So I'd totally, especially for that Monday after Dopey, you better get that thing like right to the minute 60 days prior. So that's a good suggestion. Everybody's gonna be jumping on that one. Speaking of, we have a question about Marathon Weekend from Emily, one of the lizards that I helped book her travel for. Staying in Saratoga for Marathon Weekend, do the race buses only pick up near the carriage house? And I know you've stayed at Saratoga for race weekend, Scott. So what's up?
I learned this the hard way over the springtime surprise. So I forgot which building we were in. Like, maybe there was the paddock, and I just went over to the paddock bus stop. It was for the Everest night race. So it was that Thursday night. And I'm just sitting there, and like, I don't see anyone else wearing a race bib for about 5 minutes and no buses. I'm like, what's going on? Like, am I at the right spot? So I start walking, and I go, and I don't know if it's the carriage house. It might, because the carriage house is the front building, I think. And that's not necessarily where they pick you up. They pick you up kind of like on that main street, like where the pool is and the DVC like community center, like where you see like the big green icon, basically. Like
I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah. So that's right where the bus stop is. And it is the one and only stop for Saratoga. So yeah, make sure, depending on where you're at the resort, like I rented a car and I actually drove to the bus stop one of those days because it was such a long walk. But yeah, so Saratoga will just have the one stop there by the community center.
So if you look around and you're the only one with a bib at the bus, if you're the only one at the bus stop, because I mean it'd be like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's a scary thought when you're the only one at the bus stop. So yeah, so leave a little earlier if you're gonna walk, or maybe try to get a room close to that area. There is a building like right across the street from there, so that could be a good spot for a room request.
All right, Brian, I appreciate Brian asking this question. Finally, somebody has asked this question, because when we have questions like this, things start to happen. When will Disneyland start booking reservations for 2023? It is August at this point, and they're not open yet. So hopefully by the time this show comes out, within the next 48 hours, let's hope. It should be any time. I mean, you know, we're not that far from 2023 at this point. Let's go, but it should be soon. So just stand by for that. Let's see. We got another question here from Natalie. It's kind of an interesting one. It says, hey, Mike, I've been wondering this for a while. Could you tell me how you and Scott became such good friends? I've been listening for years, and it feels like Scott's always been a part of the podcast, but I'm not sure if this is true. LOL. Also, if money wasn't an issue, could you tell us how you would vacation at Disney? Thanks so much, Natalie. Well, okay. So we met. This was the first time we met when we had that meetup at Tortuga Tavern.
Yeah, so that was like a Tower of Terror, like one of those, like it was like during like an Epic October race weekends. I mean, we really didn't hang out much. Like we just kind of like met up, and I think I might have even met Ricky or Pam. Like it was like one of those old podcast meetups that we would do, kind of informal. So we just like kind of hung out, talked a little bit. We didn't like exchange Twitter handles. It wasn't like anything deep, you know. It was just like, hey, I love the show, man. I appreciate it. It gets me through some runs. Like, have a great race tonight. That's basically all it was. It was short and sweet. But then, yeah, it was the next podcast cruise. You know, we were doing all the excursions together, the mixologies. Like, I maybe started being a bad influence. I know, like, we hung out with like your in-laws, your brother and sister-in-law, like Andy and Sandy at Meridian. Like, we were doing a taste testing together there. So we were just telling stories and laughs. And then obviously our daughters like kicked it off in the kids club. And then, man, then it's history in the making.
The rest is kind of history. I mean, it's, you know, Scott's really about as close to a brother as I've ever had. So that, you know, it's basically it. I mean, we've, you know, he's just an asset to the show. You know, he's a DVC member. He knows his stuff. He runs the races. He sails the ships, and just he's comedy gold. I mean, we got to have him here on the show. So
and now we vacation together. We go to Disneyland together. Like, and then and same with all of us. Like, we all try to plan our trips together. Like, I know Ricky does the same. Like, we've hung out with Ricky so many times too. Yep. It's just, I know sometimes we make a point, Mike, to like purposely try to make some trips together outside of even like our big summer trips that we do. So yeah.
Yes. Let me ask Ricky this question though: if money were no object for you, because I'm a tightwad, I don't even know what I would do. That'll never happen for me. That'll never happen. What would you do? I mean, realistically, like, is there something that if like you did hit that? I know somebody in Illinois won that like $1 billion lottery, and it wasn't Paige. I was hoping it was Paige when I saw it. Oh, please let my daughter. Pay it back.
That'd be something.
That'd be something. I'd probably never see her again.
I hope I would be somewhat on her list. Like, you got that list, right?
You would have probably found out before I would have. I guarantee you would have known first. But Ricky, what about you? Is there some like huge splurge, like if money were no object, realistically, something you'd like to do?
Yeah, I think I would probably like to stay. Honestly, I would like to either do the Copper Creek like cabins on the water or the Polynesian cabins on the water. I think that would be like the ultimate right there. I think I lean more toward Copper Creek because, again, as I mentioned, like the Wilderness Lodge is more where my heart is, but I do love the Polynesian too. So I think that's what I would do.
Let me throw this in real quick though. Okay, so if the Disney calls you today and says you get a weekend, Copper Creek cabins, Polynesian bungalows, you're picking cabins.
The cabins, Copper Creek.
Me too. Isn't that crazy? Me too. What about you, Scott?
I'm picking them all day. So I think, not to go on that rant, but like the bungalows are first at Polynesian and they were fantastic.
Yes.
I think they learned from that.
So much from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That they just upped it so much better at Wilderness Lodge. So that would be my choice between those two for sure.
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength today. We're feeling it.
We are.
Yeah. But you know what? So that was one of my choices, Ricky. Like, so since you took it, I'm going to go with my other one so I can get both answers in a way.
Okay.
See what I did there? I learned from
I do.
you, Ricky.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
I love the Riviera Resort. I love the Skyliner. So I'm going with that three-bedroom villa at the Riviera. And Ricky, you and Brian are invited.
Nice.
Man, the whole podcast crew's invited because we can sleep like 15 or
that's okay with me. Yeah.
There. So we'll do that over Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is all about friends and family. So we'll have a nice week.
Get it catered in.
We'll celebrate Mike and Elizabeth's birthday because they always seem to fall around Thanksgiving. So it'll be a good time.
Oh man, we need to make this happen.
Brian's too because his is the 30th of November.
Okay, so we got the 27th, 28th, and the 30th, and we'll just throw that all in with Thanksgiving. It'll be a great celebration.
Let's do it. All right, Chris has a question here. He says, "Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and #Scotty G. Thanks for helping me plan Disney trips over the past few years. You have all been instrumental in helping me plan trips that have given us some amazing memories with our son. Now, there are two things you need to know about me. One, I've always wanted to stay at the Polynesian. Okay, as we just picked the Wilderness Lodge over the Polynesian bungalows. But don't get me wrong, I love the Polynesian.
Absolutely.
I think I like the Polynesian standard rooms way better.
I agree. Yes.
Okay. And two, he says, Halloween is my absolute favorite holiday. See photos attached. And I mean, it's the cutest picture of his family. I've tried to get my wife to do this for like a decade. They're dressed as the Incredibles. Nice. Like, I just want to be Mr. Incredible. I want her to be Mrs. Incredible. That ship has sailed. That is never going to happen around here, I don't think. Anyway, back to Chris's email. Naturally, I'm beyond excited about our stay at the Polynesian, complete with tickets to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party this September 23rd to the 28th. We have park hoppers for the first 3 days. Our final full day will be a resort/pool day, ending with the Halloween party. It's a dream come true for me. Here are my questions. Number one, my son loves Ratatouille. How can we get to the International Gateway so we can ride Remy at the start of early entry? This would help us get him to ride it more than once. Do you have any suggestions? So, Ricky, what say you? They're at the Polynesian. They want to go in the back door to Epcot, the Gateway, if possible, just because of the proximity to France.
I mean, it's going to be really tough.
I have an idea.
I have an idea too. My idea is it's probably the same one. Make a breakfast reservation at one of the resorts over there. So either, the beach club restaurants, the boardwalk restaurants, or the yacht club restaurants. and then make it super early, and then that way you'll be able to walk on over to the International Gateway from there. That's the best suggestion I think I have for that scenario.
That's mine too. Like do Ale and Compass or do Cape May Cafe if they're doing breakfast, something like that. Scott, can you think of anything else? Because I mean,
that was what I wrote down on my notes here. And I would just suggest, like, if you're driving, like, they don't like you to leave your car, so I'd recommend like doing like an Uber of some sort, so you can just get dropped off right at the front of the resort, which is great because the parking can be pretty brutal at those resorts, and they still might be rough on letting you in. So just take an Uber over to do Cape May Cafe with the kids, have a nice early breakfast and walk on over to International Gateway and do Ratatouille.
I agree. And the second question is, I know we can enter the Magic Kingdom for the Halloween party as early as 4 p.m., but I also know that pre-gaming the party with dinner is crucial. If having dinner means we're entering closer to 5 or 6, are we missing out on anything special? Characters are not a priority for us at the party. Thanks for all you do and the joy you share, Chris. P.S. Bonus suggestion for the trade conversation. Oh, we talked about making trades a few weeks back when the trade deadline was happening for Major League Baseball. He says, after riding Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland, I would trade Star Tours for an actual Star Wars roller coaster where you ride along with the rebels as they take on the Death Star in episode 4 or 6, complete with projection that makes you feel like you're part of the action. PPS. The scariest animatronic was the alien from Alien Encounter.
Facts.
That's true. That thing it was so scary that it's gone. Like,
Facts.
People could not get out of their restraints and freaked out. So yeah. Okay, great emails. And you know what? I like that idea of a trench run roller coaster, because I loved Hyperspace Mountain. I preferred Hyperspace Mountain actually to Star Tours myself when I was out at Disney. I thought it was really well done. I thought that was like it was
cool. A Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run too.
I said the same thing. I said I'd rather do this than Smuggler's Run. It was because it was just more fun. It was just fun to me. So both good points there. But back to his question, Scott, you're going to the party here. God, I can't believe you're going to a Halloween party in like 10 days or less.
That's insane. Yeah.
It's like 180 outside heat index right now. I can't breathe. It's so humid.
Costumes are just about ready too. So watch out.
You're getting ready to celebrate Halloween. So we've all been to Halloween parties. You're really not missing anything until the party kicks off at 7.
I agree. And I love the early dining, do the resort dining, this thing at the Polynesian. I would almost take, like, not to get my strategy away, but I like to go to the Grand Floridian Cafe to kick off the party, or maybe Steakhouse 71. So take the monorail over to one of those resorts, have a great meal, and then walk over, or do a boat, or if you have the Contemporary, you can still do the monorail if you choose. But I would stick to a monorail resort for dinner and then head on over. I don't think you're going to miss too much.
All right, next question is from Deanne. She says, good morning, Mike. I have a question that I would like to hear discussed. So here we go. Magic Kingdom, October 31st and November 1st. Have you experienced the Halloween and Christmas season switchover? If you have, is it worth it to plan a trip over this time? I don't remember anyone ever asking this question. Thanks, Deanna. Ricky, have you ever been there when they made the switch from Halloween and all of a sudden it is Christmas?
I don't know that I've done that switch. I know I've been there on Halloween before, but it was when I was a kid, so I don't remember if they had done Christmas quite that early yet. I think it's a good time to go, though. I mean, you get 2 holidays for your money, basically. So I say, yeah, go ahead and do it. Just know that, until it's the official holiday, things won't fully be out. So you'll only see the beginnings of Christmas coming out, but so you won't see all of it. But I mean, I still think that it would be a really good experience to do that.
Right. I think there's kind of a mythos that it just happens overnight, on Halloween night that it just goes away and that it's Christmas November 1st. But actually, it's a kind of a week-long transition.
Yeah.
They'll take the tree down or they'll put up the tree.
Yeah.
And, take out the pumpkins and stuff like that. But Scott, you have I think you have been there during this transition.
So I've flown down for a wine and dine race weekend on Halloween and went to the party. And then the next day, the Christmas tree is up at Magic Kingdom. It's just like one of the weirdest Actually, no, it wasn't the next day that year because it depends on how the calendar works. Because November 1st was actually a Halloween party too, because it was Saturday or something. Like I can't remember the exact details. So it wasn't the next morning in my case because of November 1st being a Halloween party. But yeah, I mean the transition is pretty quick for like Main Street stuff, but like the resorts is gonna take a while for all their resort trees to come up. But if you time it right, like how I did, where you went down on Halloween day, if you do like a 7 to 8 night trip, you're going to get both parties because you're going to get the last party and the first Christmas party. I know it's a lot of money, and if you love hard ticket events, that's a perfect way to see both of them. So good idea.
But currently, I think the Halloween night is sold out. The night before Halloween night is sold out, and the first Halloween party of the season is sold out at this point, I believe.
And the second, unfortunately.
The second. That's when you're going to?
I'm going to the second, yeah.
There you go. They all want to be there with you. They want to check you out. All right. Last question today comes from Michael in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It says Disney half marathon post-race party. Hey, Mike, I've become a big fan of your podcast. Enjoy listening while we are prepping for Disney, but also casually to tap into the magic. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. My wife and I went to Disney for our honeymoon and have been there over 10 times with our kids, typically every other year. This year is much busier. Went in January with the entire family, including our oldest boyfriend. Just got back from a July trip with my youngest as she was performing with her dance troupe at Disney Springs, and we're sailing on the Wish over Thanksgiving. But the real reason I'm reaching out is that I'm also headed to Walt Disney World in early November for the Wine and Dine half marathon. I've never run a half marathon before. It's my midlife crisis bucket list move. Hey, there's going to be 1,500, 2,000 people that are in the same boat. Like, what am I doing? Like when the national anthem starts playing, look around, like 10% of the people out there, like, wait a second, I got to go run 13 miles. Like I just came down here for vacation and I'm in the middle of a parking lot. It's 5 a.m.
Or you're Ricky and you're standing there thinking like, 24 hours ago, I didn't think I was going to do this. And
this is true. I mean, yep, exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy. So anyway, what better motivation for me to get running and prepared than doing it in Disney? That's exactly right. My question is about the post-race party. Is it worth it? I know it's included for me and my oldest daughter who's running too, but was curious if we should buy additional tickets for my wife and our youngest daughter who are tagging along for the weekend. We're doing a light day at Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios on Saturday, and then the race on Sunday, followed by the party. Is the party enough to experience a decent evening at Epcot? By the way, shout out to Rachel Honing at the Magic for Less. She helped us set up hotels each visit and has been wonderful. Thanks for your help. Best, Mike. And shout out to Rachel. That's awesome. Thanks for supporting the Magic for Less. What do you think? I'm not a huge fan of the party because I don't know. It's okay. I'll be honest. Like I've had it included and I've not gone many times. Like I've not used my ticket. But Scott, what do you think?
So I like the party. The party's a little different now, though. I mean, so it used to be you finished the race. Ricky experienced this one once too, I believe. You finished the race. Wine and Dine is just a race weekend, Ricky. Yeah. What I determined.
Apparently, yeah.
You finished the race and then boom, they give you like a drink voucher and then you went right back in the Epcot and then you just went at it. You had the energy going. But now. Now you do the morning race, you go and, you take a swim, you relax a little bit. And like come the party, you might be like, too tired. And that's one of the worst scenarios if you just become too tired. So like, you rest up a little bit, but the party still brings a lot of value. They do a lot of cool stuff that's special for the runners. I'd still recommend it. I know the tricky part is here. Do you buy 2 tickets? Because yours is already included, like the extra cost. But if you look at it, there's 4 of you. You only need to purchase 2 of them. So, you're getting like buy one, get one free if you don't think about being included with your race registration. So I could see some value there. And if you've never done it before, I say you got to do it once. And you will still have a great night at Epcot. It might feel a little crowded because there are a lot of runners, but a lot of them necessarily aren't doing attractions. They're just kind of there to hang out, take photos with the medals, see some of the characters, eat and drink. So if attractions is your thing, I think you're going to see shorter times than you normally would on an Epcot night.
That's a good point. I mean, it's definitely a fun night at Epcot, but it's one of those things like I just never make it over. Again, I have an annual pass, so it's not a huge incentive for me to go to the party. because I can go to Epcot, whenever, because I have the annual pass. So I think that's another factor that kind of skews how I think about it. I will say, thinking about the old days when the race was a night race, the first ever Wine and Dine half marathon, I remember when you crossed the line, they would actually hand you the alcoholic drink as you crossed the line. Like they had them there. They'd ask you want they would give you a flute of wine right there in the like where you get your medals.
Probably learned that's not a great idea. Yeah.
Or like a beer. I mean, they asked you, like at the time I didn't drink or I didn't like either one of them. So I took like a Coke or something, but it was just one of those, like, it wasn't even a voucher, man. It was like, here, man. I mean, like you just ran 13 miles, yours dehydrated. But I mean, we do this after doing Dopey. We drink a margarita as we're on the course, but so stupid lesson, stupid runner tricks like David Letterman. But yeah, so I'm just saying those are the good old days. Even Disney has those. So no, we'll see you down there. I'll be down there for Wine and Dine half marathon. Scott he'll make it happen somehow. It's Scott. It'll happen.
I'm currently signed up for the virtual, but yes, you never know. It's August. We'll see what happens in October. See if I have
where the
charity bib or something.
Yeah, the best place to run that virtual would be on property in the corrals with us. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to duck out of here. We'll be back again on Friday where we're going to do kind of a little progress report for Walt Disney World. We're going to have a fun discussion on what Walt Disney World's doing well right now. Some of those things are doing a lot well, and what things we think Walt Disney World needs to kind of maybe switch course or look at doing things a little bit differently moving forward here as we approach 2023. So come back for that on Friday. Don't forget today's show, always brought to you by The Magic for Less. Swing by the website today over at themagicforless.com. Check out all the great trip planning tools for Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney. And while you're there, fill out that free no obligation quote form. And if you mention the show, you and I are going to be planning an amazing trip together, and I'd love to help you plan that trip this week. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click really does help us out. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a huge shout out to our patrons who make all this podcasting possible. You guys are the backbone of our podcast. Thank you so much for that. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every Tuesday. So if you'd like to get in on that, come on over to patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give Ricky a follow on the social media. She's a lot of fun at Ricky Nibs, RIKKINIBS. Scott's at Epscott, EPSCOT. Give him a follow because he's getting ready to head down to Florida here very soon. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike, and I'll be tweeting all kinds of stuff. Cardinal baseball, Mizzou football, and Disney all the time. Love to talk to you this week. And, of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube so you know when we go live. And we'd love that Apple Podcast rating and review if you get a chance. All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back again on Friday. So for Ricky and Scott, I'm Mike. Wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Save that one. Episode 2133. Oh, I got a headache. This. Almost there.
Almost there.
Yes.
Here we go. Let's do this. So we'll preview your trip, and then we'll talk about that because it probably won't be enough for a whole show. So here we go. 21:35. Holy smokes. Oh, somebody sent me an email, by the way, and congratulated me because the show on Monday was a milestone podcast episode, which I didn't even realize. You know what it was?
No.
Episode 2132. I tied.
Oh, Cal Ripken.
Or, yes,
no.
Cal Ripken. Yeah. Cal Ripken. He beat Lou Gehrig. So then I looked it up. So now I got to go, I think, 26. I think it's like 50.
Wow, he did go. Cal Ripken did go like a couple more seasons after that, didn't he? Yeah,
it's 2,600 something. So yeah, some listeners sent that. I was like,
that's a great email. Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
Did you run around the studio and like give high fives to everyone?
Like, yeah.
I will never forget that moment. Like, I just remember watching it. Like, he just ran up. They just stopped the game for like 15 minutes. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, just high five everybody, even in the outfield. That was great. Yeah, ESPN, man. I remember
that was a cool moment.
Oh my God, it was the best. I love Cal Ripken. Okay, here we go. 21:35. Welcome to episode 2135 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. And you will find me on a Friday evening. Well, pretty soon, every Friday evening, you'll find me at the H, Francis Hall, the football field. But before that, if you're looking for me on a Friday night, check out LS Teca over in O'Fallon, Missouri. It's where I get my number 15 combination. And that's how I start the weekend. But we want you to start the weekend with us right here on the Be Our Guest Podcast. And so glad to have you here. So joining me today for some fun Disney conversation, a little progress report. We're going to do a little performance review for Walt Disney World. We're going to pretend like we're big business executives today. We have Ricky, who actually works in the business world. Two people work in the business world, and I just pretend. So Ricky's joining us from the mouseforless.com. Ricky, happy Friday. Hope you have a great weekend in front of you.
Happy Friday. Yeah, I have a few things maybe in mind. We'll see if they happen, but otherwise it'll be a relaxing weekend. So not sure which way it's going to go. It's either going to be busy or relaxing. It just depends on how things go with me. So, yeah.
All I know is I have a date with the lawnmower because it just pours and then gets hot, and then pours and then gets hot. Like you can literally, like, if I sat on the front porch, I know I sound again like a 90-year-old dude, but the way this like last maybe month and a half here in St. Louis is gone because it just pours and then it just gets so hot and steamy. You could watch the grass literally just go.
I bet, yeah.
Grass, and I turn around, it's like it's tall again. Like it'll be a date with the John Deere this weekend, I think, again.
Got it. Yep. That was Brian last weekend. The grass was super high, so he had to go out and cut it. But
I mean, I got my lawn tractor, so it's all good. I like
there you go.
Yeah, cruising on that thing. It's every 12-year-old's dream, man. I finally got one when I'm 48 years old. So I'm just like, because everybody, peer pressure, all the old dudes in the neighborhood had one. Got a closeout. I'm living the dream since last fall. Anyway, also joining us from Michigan, but very soon to be Walt Disney World, Coronado Springs for part of the trip, we have Scott. What's up, Scott?
Happy Friday, Mike and Ricky. I'm doing a little packing today as I will be taking an early flight tomorrow for Walt Disney World. But Ricky, I think one of these Fridays, you and I need to go to LS Teca and we could just make fun of Mike. Well,
I like this idea.
Yeah, we'll just sit at a nearby table and watch him and just tell funny stories about Mike and tease him.
I think this is a great idea. I'm in. Let's go. Let's do it.
So I love LS Teca, but the thing that I don't get that I used to have at Las Fuentes, if you're a longtime listener, you know that I would always give my Las Fuentes updates. I've met many, I'm not kidding, many podcast listeners at Las Fuentes over the years. People passing through St. Louis, we'd always meet up, have dinner at Las Fuentes. I have so many pictures and Google Photos that pop up. 1 year, 7 years ago, and it's me and some listener of the show at Las Fuentes having a meal. But the thing, like, LS Teca is great, but I just don't have like my Sarita. Like Sarita was our waitress that we had every time, and she was amazing. And we have great waiters and waitresses at LS Teca, but we don't have like one. We're still relatively new to the neighborhood. I mean, we've been here a few years now, but we just don't have that like one person, which, that goes a long way with me. I'd rather just have my one person. I don't have to order. I come in, like, they know, I don't have that yet. I'm not like, you don't have like the cheers, like everybody knows your name thing.
You'll get there.
I know. That's my goal. We'll see if it happens.
Maybe you could be that guy. Maybe you could be a server at LS Teca, and then you could be that guy for someone else, Mike.
I've thought about that, but I think my perfect role at a Mexican restaurant would be just the chip guy. Like the guy that,
yes, the runner, the chip runner.
Exactly. I don't think you could screw that up. Like, I'm worried that I would mess up if I had to do because when big parties come in, I don't know how good I would do about that. Because Pam used to work as a waitress at Casa Gallardo, which was a huge Mexican chain here in San Diego, super popular. And she was great at it. She's like super good at that kind of stuff. I would freak out under pressure, but I've always thought like I can handle the chips and the salsa. Like if somebody comes in, you say hello, you drop off. I mean, everybody loves.
And you gotta have like a towel around your shoulder too. I don't know why, but they always have the towel.
Of course.
Maybe it's just to wipe down the table a little bit. But yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody loves. Nobody's mad at the chip person. Like you're giving out free product. Chips and salsa. People are hungry. Everybody loves the chip guy. Like
sometimes I even give them a wink and say, "Can I get two?"
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I'd be like, "Sure, I'll get you three. I don't care." So the chip guy in my future. Anyway, I have to get a shirt that says I want to be the chip guy. Okay, so we're gonna kind of take this kind of two ways today. This show always crazy. The first 5 minutes, stupid. Anyway, so Scott, like he said, headed down to Walt Disney World here tomorrow. And I thought we'd just do a quick preview of what he has in store for his trip. We kind of teased this Sunday night and on the replay yesterday. So, Scott, give us just a couple highlights of something you're looking forward to on this trip. One thing you teased on Sunday night, you're flying into Phoenix. No, you're not flying.
Exactly.
But you're not flying into MCO.
It's weird. I got the worst travel agent. They booked me a flight to Phoenix.
What's up with that? You're like, man, it's a long drive to the hotel.
But no, I am not driving. I'm not flying into Orlando. I'm doing something different this time. I'm flying into Tampa. Never done that before. So I'm always about new experiences. This wasn't like intentionally like, oh yeah, I want a new experience, so let's fly into Tampa. It was more of a, hey, the flights to MCO are $200 to $300 more than flying to Tampa. Like, let's just do that, rent the car and be on our way. I don't think it's going to be that much longer of a drive. Ricky, have you ever, I know you normally drive anyway, but do you have any experience with Tampa at all?
I actually have been to Tampa a couple of times. Once was when Brian and I, it was a long time ago. Gosh, it was 2006 or something. And it was like a cheaper way to get into Orlando. And so we were like, okay, let's just go to, Tampa. And there's a Hyatt there. So we stayed there. And then I went there for work as well, somewhat recently. So, but it's a nice, I mean, I've done the drive. I remember, I think I remember there was a lot of construction at the time, but who knows if that's, it was 15 years ago. So hopefully they're done with the construction. I don't know. They may not be. So
I'm excited. I mean, am I running to Tom Brady? You never know.
I was going to say, you're such a big Tom Brady fan. I thought that's why you're going there. You're a big Michigan guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're funny, Mike. But I mean, I love like cigar brewing. Like I know they're out of Tampa, but I don't think I'm going to try to go there. It's going to be crazy on a Saturday. Plus we want to get to the resort, we want to get, checked into Coronado. So we're going to be staying at Coronado this trip. I have not done the traditional Coronado rooms. We've been talking about this and it seems like a long time. It's probably only been 3 or 4 years, but it seems like it's been a long time. So excited to stay in a casitas or a ranchos instead of the tower. Cause those rooms, man, they used to be a lifesaver for my family on those first few trips, let's stay moderate, let's stay in one of these rooms. And I loved those outer rooms at Coronado. Wouldn't you agree with that?
No, I agree. I love those rooms. I mean, the thing is, I've been spoiled by Grand Casino Tower because the deals have been so sweet on the tower rooms and they feel so deluxe when you're in the tower. But then again, I stayed in one of the regular rooms at Coronado just recently and I'm like, these are awesome rooms. And they have, they're just, I think I was in the ranchos and I just love just the look of the out. I know that you don't ever see the exterior of your building hardly, but when I was outside to go for a morning, actually I ran at the health club because I've become a treadmill snob. We'll
work on that.
I used to hate them, but the thing is, I just like when I was in the ranchos, I just love walking outside my room and seeing the rocks and the cacti and. Yes. I don't know, it's just I love this, and it just made me excited to stay there.
It's funny, I get this thought, I have a weird memory of things, and this before I even knew Ricky, but I remember her years ago before I met any of you talking about the Coronado and how it reminded her of her when she lived in New Mexico. So every time I'm there, I think I'm in New Mexico and Ricky's gonna pop out of the corner or something.
But I think you think of Ricky and her battle with Hotchberg and the green chili.
Yes, and the green chilies. Yes,
that was a thing for a decade ago.
This is true. Yes,
but Coronado is an awesome spot. I love those rockworks in the ranchos. It's just a fun resort, and I love the pool. So the gardeners, we definitely gotta do our pool time. I know the dig site can get crazy at times. But I love those outer quiet pools. Sometimes you'll find yourself just the only ones there, so you can kind of get a little rowdy, have fun, maybe bring a Bluetooth speaker, have a little bit of, we talked about Wham and Captain Tennille and the Jackson 5 on the last episode, maybe bring your own playlist to go around. So that's pretty fun.
Real quick though, jump in here because Nurse Josh here is in our live chat. Says his favorite's Cabanas. We had a water view corner room and it was beautiful. Also right next to a bus stop. And you also mentioned dig site. There's something about the dig site pool at night.
Oh, it's so good. I
love all the pools at Walt Disney World. Night swimming is killer. I just love it because it's the sun's not going to burn you. It's just great. But something about the dig site at night. It just has a weird kind of calm energy, which is kind of like an oxymoron, but it does. I love it.
And I'll hit on a couple of things we're going to do, but let me ask the two of you this question because Josh just kind of brought this up. So I originally had a water view room, and Mike, you kind of talked about. You're in those outer rooms, so you really don't see a view from your room, like when you get out the door, and then if you see the pool, like that's pretty awesome. But I was talking to Elizabeth, I'm like, yeah, we got a water view room. She was like, why? Like, why do we have a water view room? Like, there's no. She was like, there's no point to that. Like, I'm like, well, it'll be a closer walk to the pool. She's like, it's already going to be 110 degrees. Like, it saves me 2 minutes. Like, why don't we save some money and get a standard room? So you listen to the wife, when she says like, you move to a standard room if it's available. So I moved to the standard room. But how did you two feel on that? Like, because I don't know, I like having the water view room, but Elizabeth makes a good point. Like, I'm not ever really going to see it from the room. So why not go standard?
I always go standard view. I'll be honest, because I never, like when I have booked, like for one of the race weekends at Pop Central, I had preferred pool view because it was just the only thing left. And it was great because it was the shortest walk to the food court and everything. And it was right, 60s overlooking the pools. And it was great. But I mean, it was only because it was the last thing left. So I was paying extra. But, like you said, you can save money and it's only going to save you a few steps here and there. I don't know. Right. Ricky, what about you? Do you always go standard view?
I mean, I always go standard view unless it's like a difference of like a couple of dollars, and then maybe I'll do another view. But yeah, I usually always do standard view.
Yeah, and it ended up saying $200 of what we had. So like I looked at that like, hey, we can go get a nice meal somewhere instead.
Exactly. How can you use $200 somewhere else? That's kind of
many ways, as you'll find out, because we're doing a hard ticket party, 2 of them. So we're gonna do that night that we fly in. This is a crazy day. We're gonna go.
Oh my gosh!
We're doing Tampa. We're gonna go to 3 Bridges at the resort, and then we're gonna go to H2O Glow Nights.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
No rest, right?
No rest.
I like this, but you're gambling, because I tell my guests over at the Magic for Less, this is kind of a risky proposition that when you do a hard ticket event that's non-refundable on a travel day, because you're doing 2 of them. And you're a big boy. You know what you're doing.
I'm a gambler.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're very cautious and conservative, this is just something to think about.
Highly not recommended. I would say that.
Saying,
for sure.
I mean, you want to think twice about this, because if you were to have a flight delay, if you're doing like the Christmas party and it's sometime where you're coming from Alaska or something, I don't know. You just got to be.
I felt better about this one because it's about a third of a cost as one of the.
True.
It was like $60 with the DVC or something. I can't remember, but I've always wanted to do one of these, so I'm super excited about that. Our friends, the Andersons, are going to be there, and Beth is going to be there. So we're going to have like a big group. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, we got some great reservations. So we're going to go to Liberty Tree Tavern the next night. But what's funny, Mike, the night after that, we're going to do the Moonlight Magic at Typhoon Lagoon. We're going to go right back to it and do another hard ticket event. This wasn't planned the greatest because DVC announced the Moonlight Magic after we already purchased the H2O Glow Nights. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm already on property. Like, I've done an H2O Glow Night before, and they were magnificent. I love the way they took care of you. So I was like, well, I don't want to turn it down. I want to go for it again. So we're doing it again. It might be a little bit different. I don't know, because it's DVC. But it's funny. My wife, Elizabeth, like, not the biggest water park fan, and yet we're going to go to Typhoon twice in 3 days. So we'll see if I'm still married after this trip.
Here's the thing, though. You guys always make time for the pool. Like, you guys make time for the pool more than we do when we're on vacation. Like, when we were at Disneyland, you guys were always taking time in the afternoon to go to the pool, and it was great. And so I think that this is fun. I mean, even if you just kind of chill out, have some snacks, and Typhoon has a great lazy river. I mean, if I had a couple snacks and just had some, free time on the lazy river, I would imagine at Moonlight Magic you might get a little swag for being DVC. I mean, that might be a good night right there. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know if I shared the story in the live show, but I'll share it. So like I'm sitting here thinking like, do I book this? Like, do I get in the queue? So I'm in the queue, and then like it's counting down. Like, how they kind of do those like sign ups.
That's how they get you, because it's FOMO if you don't do it.
Yeah, I'm in the queue. I'm like, I'm gonna stay there, and then like I'm thinking like, well, if I already did H2O Glow Nights like 48 hours before. Like, do I want to go to this? My thought process was like, worst case scenario, I go in, I get some sodas, a couple Mickey sandwiches.
There you go.
And then I'm good. So I get in and I text Wade. I'm like, who's also DVC. I'm like, hey, like I got in the queue. Like, it's ready now. And then like he messages me like, I don't know, 45 minutes later. He's like, hey, I got in too. Worst case scenario, I think I can get some sodas and some Mickey sandwiches.
There you go.
So we're on the same thought process there. So it should be fun. But that's not all I'm doing for hard ticket events. So, 3 nights, 2 Typhoon Lagoon like night events. Then the next night, I'm going to the second Not So Scary Halloween party. So that's 3 hard ticket events in 4 days, Mike. This is like getting ridiculous right
now. My guy's got an annual pass, but he's paid for all this admission like every night of his trip so far.
That's how they get you with the annual pass, though, because the cost has already been paid. You're like, oh, well.
Oh, I can go ahead and do this. Yeah.
Yeah. What's a little extra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, we're going to do Not So Scary with the same group that we had at Typhoon Lagoon. So it should be a lot of fun. We gotten some great questions about, like, how do you handle your dining? I'd like to always eat before the Not So Scary Halloween party at a monorail resort, so you're close to the Magic Kingdom. So we're going to go to Carnation Cafe, have a nice meal there, then just party it up in 110-degree weather. That's going to be awesome.
Merry Christmas, almost said. Happy Halloween. Yeah, right. Boo you. Yeah, eat your chocolate quickly.
Yeah. But guess what, guys? That's it. That's it for hard ticket events. No more hard ticket events the rest of the trip. But yeah, so then it's going to be a lot of the usual stuff, right? You know, we're going to go to the theme parks, try to wake up early because you want to beat the heat and some of the crowd. But then and just take breaks during the day and go swimming. We'll have the car. So, you know, my family likes to do like miniature golf. So maybe we'll go on a miniature golf excursion one day. The thing is, it'll be so freaking hot for that too, you know? So it's going to be tough. But yeah, so we're going to do some new dining too. So since we're staying at Coronado, we're going to try Toledo, which we've never done before.
That's good because we need to talk about that because I've never been there.
Yeah, so Jody recommended it. You know, fellow lizard from Cincinnati area. She said her and her husband really loved it. So got to try that. And it works out when you're staying at the resort. It's nice to try the resort dining option. So definitely going to do that. And then we're going to do one of our last meals of the trip, which we've never done before, is Hoop-de-Doo. So excited to finally do Hoop-de-Doo. Already prepaid for too, which is kind of nice. It kind of hurts when you make that reservation when you're giving $200 up front for something that you haven't had yet. But then when you check out that night, you're like, oh, sweet, I already paid for this. So that'd be kind of nice.
Bring on the chicken.
I've heard Hoop-de-Doo has changed a little bit, right? Like I think they changed some. Like it's not quite the original show. Yeah. Have you guys heard anything like that?
Yeah, I've heard they've made changes.
Okay,
Ricky.
Yeah, I've heard they made changes too.
I mean, they're changing everything, but I've heard the food is really good though still. So
yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I don't know what the original show was, so I had nothing to compare it for. So I hope it's just who cares? As long as it's just going to be awesome and they're entertaining and we're just having a good time. But I think we did the 6 o'clock show. It sounds perfect. They have a 4 o'clock, which I know that's Mike Rallman dinner time.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the perfect time to eat. Yes,
but we went with the 6 o'clock. So let me ask you guys this question. So I don't know how I magically did this, but I have 2 ADRs for the same time on our last night. So I have Citrico's, love the retheme with the Mary Poppins, awesome menu. But I also have Le Cellier at the same time. Oh. So I could possibly, have Le Cellier, go see Harmonious, end the night in a park, end the trip in a park with a show. What would you guys do? What would you guys do in this situation?
That's a tough one because the thing is, on your last night, do you want to be in a park because you get, getting ready to go home? You want that last little taste of being in a theme park, seeing the fireworks up close, or do you just want to chill? You've had your fill at that point. You just want to have it relaxing. I mean, at the Grand Floridian, you could step outside maybe and see Enchantment from there.
Yeah, I know that's a tough call, right? Because then you can just avoid the crowds, basically, right? You can finish up your meal at the Grand Floridian, watch the fireworks, and then we'll be parked there with our car. Then you just walk back to the car and call it. You can beat all those crowds, right?
This is total one I would keep until 24 hours and to see how it feels.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I hate to do that because someone might be wanting to book it. I hate to be that guy, but somehow Disney let me book 2 at the same time. I don't know how. I got through their IT. Maybe that'll be something on our list today on our report card. But
yeah. I would totally though, because this is going to be one of those, how do I feel the day before? Am I just done with the theme parks and I just want to have a chill last day? Or
good call. Do I want to try to do the Guardians coaster one last night? Maybe you get a reservation that morning for it, or because I'm assuming obviously we had to have a theme park reservation. Well, maybe not if we hop over. But yeah, if you get a Guardians virtual queue time for later that day, then maybe it makes sense to keep Le Cellier. I don't know. I like your thinking.
What would you do, Ricky? Do you have do you lean one way? You're more of a theme park person, though.
I am, and I think because I don't think you've been to Le Cellier in a while, I think I would probably go with Le Cellier. So
Ricky, you know me so well. I have not been to Le Cellier since the pandemic, actually.
Yeah,
or even a couple of years before then. So that's kind of why I booked it.
I would do Le Cellier because it's been a while for you. So.
I like that.
I could go for some of that bread they have at the table, like all the province.
Yeah, the pretzel bread.
Yeah. Oh my god, the pretzel bread, the soup. Like I like to put the bread in the soup. Oh. Ooh, that's gonna. Can I have both?
Yeah. How fast can you get from one to the other and have two signature meals?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Super excited for the trip. Yeah. Then the next day we'll just fly out of Tampa. So I think it's a later flight. So maybe we might try to leave the resort early and maybe like hit some excursions on the way. Maybe like play a mini golf or something in Tampa or check out the area.
You need to go on the mini golf tour. You need to like a shooter. Get the putter.
I am playing golf though. I'm playing Lake Buena Vista again though, Mike. So I forgot to throw that out there. So follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting it all the way. It should be a lot of fun and it's going to be very hot. So you'll see me in the pool probably 75% of the time.
Hey, that's what vacation's supposed to be. We're finally figuring it out after a decade. It's not supposed to be trying to get in 30 attractions on a day when it's 105-degree heat index. It kills you. So, all right. So let's get to today's main topic. You're going to have a good time and we're going to miss you. But when you get back, we'll have plenty to talk about. Lots of new experiences, which I like. To talk about the Halloween party. We can review that right off the bat for people going this year. Talk about your dining experiences. Talk about H2O glow nights. That'll be fun. But let's hit today's kind of focus here and talk about a performance review. This isn't going to be real long. We only have about 15, 20 minutes left in the show. Ricky, let me ask you, you come in, your boss asks you kind of, they bring you into the office. You're kind of sweating bullets. Like, no, you're doing a great job. But like corporate makes me do this. They make me, go through this form and I have to ask these questions. And you're like, well, why do you make me sweat this out? I like working here. Why are you doing this to me?
Right.
I used to hate that as a teacher because teachers had to do them every year. The observations, hated it. But anyway, and they were always fine, but I just hated the process. Yeah. So we bring in Walt Disney World, and you always want to start off with something positive, right? So what is one thing you would say Walt Disney World is doing really well right now? Like you would praise them for this. Like I really like this happening at Walt Disney World right now.
I think one thing that they're doing really well is the creativity in the dining at the restaurants, especially the newer restaurants. I feel like they're coming up with some really unique options for guests. And I think like you look at Space 220 and everything that they've got there. You look at, Topolino's Terrace, that they've got some great items there. The newer things that they keep bringing out. I feel like, Connections Cafe, that is a phenomenal menu as well. So even the counter service is doing awesome with that kind of stuff. So I feel like they're really coming out with some fantastic options that aren't just, burgers and fries and chicken nuggets and everything like that. Like I really think that they're coming out and thinking outside the box a little bit and trying some really unique things that appeal to a lot of demographics and not just, chicken fingers and fries.
I agree.
Which I know, of course, Paige's thing, but
But you got to do that, right? I think what's really interesting is Connections Cafe. Like, it's a really intriguing menu to me because if you look at it, it's pretty simple because it's almost like a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Kind of, yeah.
The waffle thing is super tasty, but it's pretty basic. I mean, it's a waffle and I tear these things up, but I mean, it's really not super fancy. It's like it's a really light waffle with the whipped cream and some cherry sauce. But I mean, it's got like sprinkled, like almost like powdered sugar on it. It's just a great combination. They also have some other options, but they all have kind of like an international flair kind of around. Right. Kind of give it a feel like it needs to be in Epcot, a park that has World Showcase. But yet again, it's almost like it's not super fancy food. It's not something that somebody that's a picky eater can really always shy away from. Is it like fancy or is it not? It's kind of like toeing that line. You don't know which way it's leaning.
Exactly. Yeah. Is it fancy or is it not? There's something there for everyone, I feel like. So I think they're doing a really good job with dining right now. I've been kind of really impressed with what they've been coming up with.
Good call. Okay, Scott, what do you think? Okay, you bring Walt Disney World in. We really like that you're doing this right now. You're on the right track. What would you say to that?
They're going to get an elite rating because that's how we like the rate in my company. So the top dog is elite, and they're going to get an elite rating for their room furbishments at the resort.
Oh, you took
that's good. Oh,
Mike, we're always on the same page, man.
We are.
So you'll have a lot to say about this too. But yeah, like I just love like what they've done at Pop Century and like the other values. But I'm specifically thinking about like the Saratoga Springs Resort, like the DVC room refurbishments with the with the wall coming out, like the Murphy bed coming out of the wall. Like they have that at the Riviera for like my family. That like my daughter, I don't know if Mallory had to ever sleep on those like pull-out couches, which they were fine. But like these are so much more comfortable. You slept on one even at the Riviera, Mike, when you stayed with us that one night. Like, and it just helps with so much space. Like, because I would take that pull-out couch and I would never put it back, and then I'd be tripping over it for the rest of the stay. Now you can just, when you're done, you can just lift it up back into the wall. You bring all this extra space in, and that's just one thing they're doing. But like a lot of the new technology, all the outlets and everything, I just love what they're doing with the rooms.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, it kind of started with, they've taken a lot of cues from the cruise line, right? The efficiencies of the rooms. I mean, something as simple as taking the beds, right, raising them up on a pedestal so that you could slide your suitcases under. So now you have a lot more storage in space that was wasted in the old hotel rooms. And think about it, like now it's almost been a decade since the Pop Century refurbishments, or close to it. And you know, how weird was it at first when we saw that second bed that like you pulled out of the wall and it turned, like I remember the first time I heard about, like, wait, what? That the second bed's it's a table. Like, are you crazy? Like, what are you drinking? Like, it's not a table. And it is. Then you walk in, it's a table. Now I don't ever use it as a table unless I'm like solo. And then I still usually don't. I pull it down and I just throw my second suitcase on it or something. But they've been creative in what they've done. Like you said, like the power distribution, the organization with it's almost like IKEA stuff, especially the values moderates. But the thing is, you know, they're kind of missing. My wife, she liked the look of the carpets in the old rooms because it felt kind of more comfortable, but it's also like a cleanliness and a hygiene thing, especially kind of going beyond COVID. You know, I think that we're all glad, right, that the carpet's all gone. Right?
Right.
Do we all agree with that?
Yes, we can agree. Ding the bell for that one.
Yeah, exactly.
We're glad that the carpet is gone.
Yeah, they were ahead of the game on that. And I think you're exactly right. Plus, they're taking rooms and they're giving a light retheme with characters, with IP, which again was kind of scary. You know, you take something is indelible. It was something like the Polynesian. Like you don't want to touch. You got to tread lightly when you're talking about a remodel at the Polynesian, because it is such the Walt Disney World just experience as a whole. You know, it's been there since 71. You don't want to screw with it. But they've taken Moana, and for, you know, I haven't stayed in these rooms yet, but I've had guest after guest come on the Monday shows, and they're like, these rooms are great. Like Moana's not in your face, but you can find it if you want to. My kid loved it. I loved it. It's not something that is just hitting you over the head, but it works. And like I've seen, you know, Chippendale lightly in the Wilderness Lodge showers. You know,
and then the Riviera does it too. So you got like in the one bedroom, you got we actually bought the portrait because we love it so much, like the Ratatouille, the Remy painting. But then like you pull down those beds, like you see this at Riverside, you see them at the like those fifth sleepers that are under the TV. Like you'll see this great artwork of Tiana, like at Riverside or whatever, or Peter Pan. Like those touches like are so Disney, right? I mean, only Disney can do that. But like I love seeing it. It's not like really in your face all the time, but then like, you know, you go to bed, you pull down the sleeper, and then hey, oh my God, that's awesome. There's Tinkerbell right there. I just love that stuff.
I agree. Okay, so I'm going to kind of switch mine on the fly because mine was going to be the hotel rooms, because I think that they're doing a great job of, you know, really keeping the hotel rooms, because it seems like they are continuously rolling through the resorts and trying to keep them up to date. I mean, they have done a good job of that. I mean, we saw that even during COVID when things were shut down and labor was super tight, they were still working on hotel rooms in the closed resorts, which kind of unexpected, and I'm glad to see that. So on the fly, one thing I would call in Disney is say that, and again, some people are going to fight me on this one, but I will say on property transportation, Walt Disney World does a pretty good job of this. And I like what you're doing. And over the past 5 years with the installation of the Skyliner, that is a very creative outside the box way to get people from the studios, from Epcot to, and here's where I really like it. They took it to the value resorts. They took it to Art of Animation and Pop Century, Caribbean Beach, a moderate, but it's also there for the Riviera. It is tangentially there for the Epcot area resorts with Beach Club, Yacht Club, Boardwalk, Swan and Dolphin as well. I like it so much, but here's one thing I would tell the Walt Disney World there as they're sitting across the desk at the review. I like what you're doing. Let's do some more of that. Like that was a good first step. It's well received. It's efficient. It gets high marks from people that use your service. Hey, you guys thought outside the box and you won. Let's keep this going. Let's maybe get a route over at Coronado Springs somewhere to Animal Kingdom, or let's see what we can. Let's keep going with that momentum, because there's kind of an explosion of travel right now. Let's keep that. Let's keep that infrastructure building going. Like, so just take step one and stop. Let's keep it going. But even the buses are rather efficient. I mean, I know sometimes you have bad luck. The boats are pretty good. I like the boats. I mean, I think the on-property transportation, for as many guests as they have to get as many different places, it works well. I give them a high mark on that. Scott, am I wrong on that? But I think they do a good job with transportation, all things considered.
All things considered, yes, I think they do a good job. And some of us, and I'm guilty of this too. I know Ricky, Mike, we're all guilty of it. Sometimes we just get a little impatient and we're like, man, this bus has been like 25 minutes. It's probably been like 7 minutes. We're just so because it's 110 degrees outside. But I mean, they do a really good job. They're efficient, and I love all the options, right? Like, because like the Skyliner isn't for everyone. Like if you're afraid of heights, that might not be your thing. But you know what? You still have, if you're staying at those resorts. Well, I'm thinking like the Epcot area resorts. You got boat transportation you could use too. Or you can use the monorail. You got the buses. So I love that we have options. Mike, it's funny you were talking about like you would like to see additional lines for the Skyliner because that makes so much sense, right? Like they can just add it on there. And I had this random thought the other day while I was walking. I haven't like looked at like a bird's eye view of the resort, but like I wonder if part of the problem is like the golf. Like maybe they can't do a line to Disney Springs because it could go over the golf course, and if someone's playing golf, they could just smack right into a Skyliner like off the tee.
That's a good point.
Or like even like around the Magic Kingdom, you go over like the Palm and Magnolia. Like I don't know where the most ideal routes would be, but I wonder if like the golf courses interfere with it a little bit.
I mean, I'm sure that maybe they could make them go parallel to the fairways. Like make. You're
exactly,
right,
but like how close? That'd be the worst thing you hit, like a bucket, like while you're.
I mean, at least you're enclosed. Like you're not going to get drilled by the ball.
That's true.
I mean, you're safe. But yeah, you're right. Like if it was going perpendicular to the fairway, it's almost turning into like a mini golf challenge. Like, I got to time my tee shot. Yeah. Boom, because I'd be like, okay, I'm giving up. Like I'm not going to try to get a par on this hole. I'm going to take the bogey. But I'm going to drill
I'm going to try to hit that goofy Skyliner bucket.
I'm totally drilling, Lumiere on this next bucket as it goes by.
I'm sure it's not even a thing, but I was just like, a funny thought came in my head, like just teeing off and then seeing a bucket come overhead. Like, like, am I going to hit this?
No, that'd be totally like ultimate mini golf. Like I'm getting out the big dog, getting out the driver, and I'm hitting Lumiere on that orange Skyliner bucket as it comes by on the set.
It's like a game of horse. You just turn it into like okay. I hit that one. Now it's your turn.
All right, so Ricky, let's go back the other way though. We're kind of closing out the show. One thing that Walt Disney World, we need to work on this. A little bit of work needs to be given to this area moving into 23. What do we say?
So I think it's going to take a little longer than 23 before anything gets done here. But I think that an area that really needs some love is, Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's been a long time since they've had a newer attraction. I mean, I know that Pandora has been within the 5 years, but when you think of how long it takes for Disney to actually, create attractions for the parks and things like that, we're getting to the point in time where we need to start thinking about putting something else into Disney's Animal Kingdom, especially with the fact that, in Dinoland USA, I mean, we lost Primeval Whirl, which for some people that's a loss. For some people that's not. But, they had to tear the whole thing down. So, yeah, for Mike, it's not a loss. But, that whole area of the park, whether you loved it or hated it in the original form, it's even, it's even more. There's just not a lot over there now. So, I feel like that's an area that could really use some love. And I feel like that whole park could use some love. I mean, it's still, to this day, it's the park that I think of last, it's the park that I'm like, and it's beautiful. And don't get me wrong, I have a good time when I go there, but like, I'm not like itching to go to Disney's Animal Kingdom half the time. I'm still in the point where I'm like, I haven't been there for a while. I should probably head over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, so I know it's a favorite for many people, and don't get me wrong, I get that, but I feel like that park, it's getting to the point where it is going to need something, and I feel like if they don't announce something at D23 this year, it's a huge missed opportunity for them, because that park is going to start feeling stale again here soon. So they really need to give that park a little bit of extra love and attention, and it doesn't have to be an e-ticket attraction. It can be something,
That is such
C
a great
or
point.
D ticket.
Everything does not have to be an E ticket.
It does not.
The hair on fire attraction.
It can be a C or D ticket, but they just need to put some love. Even if it was something like, like what they're doing with the Moana thing in Epcot, something over there. Gosh, that park could use some water. I mean, theme it around dinosaurs, and you got a great idea over there for Dinoland USA. I don't know, but you got to do something to that park because it's going to get stale really quick, really soon if you don't.
You know what, too, is you said that, think about this, like, because we're all Walt Disney World fans. And it's kind of the beauty of having this podcast for almost 15 years at this point is that, like, we think of Pandora as being the new thing, right? I mean,
right.
We keep talking about it as new because we talked about it for years, like concept art.
Yeah, exactly.
Art. There's going to be this boat ride, and there's, Joe Rohde's going to do. And I mean, that thing is like, it's not new anymore. If you think
but I think I saw it hit its 5-year anniversary this year.
Yeah,
it's been there 5 years.
It's crazy how fast those things go. You're right. I mean, it's been 5 years. It makes sense to get something else cooking.
Yeah, it's time.
How fast that happens.
It's time.
Great point. Great point. Okay, Animal Kingdom love. Scott, what about you? Walt Disney World. We like what you're doing, but how about a little work in this area moving into the new year?
Right. So I'm sitting down with you, Walt Disney World. I have the evaluation sheet, and I'm seeing how you evaluate yourself pre-year, and you wrote down all these goals, right? Like in deadlines.
Totally.
And you are inconsistent at meeting your goals and deadlines for attraction construction.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Utron. I'm looking at Guardians. Now I know COVID-19 had an impact on there, right? We had the pandemic. We had to stop construction for a period of time. But big picture, Walt Disney World is so slow at building attractions, and it drives me nuts. So I know you set these goals out. I know you make these deadlines, but you're very inconsistent with your timing, and you just can't meet deadlines. So you could perform a little bit better in this area. What are your thoughts?
Oh, and so we see the person in the next cubicle, right? Okay, so we see the person in the next cubicle down the street.
Yes.
You can build attractions rather quickly, and for the most part, I don't see pieces falling off those attractions.
They can build tribute stores that they build for a temporary time being for 3 months that are just knocked out of the park fantastic, and they know they're going to tear them down in 3 months, and they build like the most miraculously incredible tribute stores, and we can't even get an attraction. Okay, yeah, I agree with you.
That's just some frustration, like like the cubicle, the person next door is like excelling at this. Maybe I know you two don't like each other very much, but you kind of need each other. You're not on the same team, but
they're building another park.
Yes. So you need to really step up your game if you want to get that bonus or raise for next year. So let's step up the construction timelines here a little bit.
Just peek over that cubicle wall there and just see it happens. I mean, it can be done quickly. It doesn't have to be a decade, for some minor thing.
Well, that's the thing with Pandora. I was going to say this when Pandora did hit its 5-year anniversary, right? In 27, because it built in 2017. My first trip to Walt Disney World was 2009. The next year, they're already talking about it. So it had 5 years of buildup.
Yes.
Plus the 5 years it's been in existence. So it really has been a decade.
It has been
talking about Pandora, which is crazy to think.
That is crazy. Okay, so my last thing, it's going to be a quick one because, again, it's back to resorts. They need more hotel rooms on property. The Walt Disney World, you just need more rooms. We need a couple more hotels, and we need a lot. We need Disney rooms because right now I can tell you, just today, working on the travel agent side of thing, I had 3 different guests contact me that they just, they've gotten, the kids are going back to school here, it's back to school time. And they found out, we're kind of looking at last minute trips, fall breaks and stuff. There are weeks in October where there is not one hotel room available on property. I mean, I'm not talking about a 2-bedroom at Old Key West. I'm not talking about some Lagoon View at Grand Floridian. There is nothing available on property for weeks in October. And the thing is, I understand that you want to be efficient, right? It's all about efficiencies. You don't want to have unsold hotel rooms sitting there empty, but I think too, we're hopefully getting out of this COVID era. It wouldn't hurt to maybe build, a new moderate and a new value somewhere, and maybe even one more deluxe. I mean, I know they just built the Riviera, but maybe not a DVC hotel, or maybe do it both ways, but I think you need to build another moderate, a big one, a lot of hotel rooms, a value, another Pop Century sized hotel, a lot of rooms, and build a deluxe. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think 3 more hotels, 1 in each category, ASAP. This needs to happen soon. Ricky, what do you think about that?
I can't agree with you more. The problem is I think that they are absolutely shying away from building moderate and especially value rooms. Their eyes on whatever they can do for deluxe / DVC, and that seems to be the carrot there. There's no benefit to them for building a value or moderate. I feel like at this point they're just like, well, we know we can get more money from these deluxe hotels, so, and as well as we can get the DVC funds as well. So I agree with you. They do need more value and moderate rooms. I just don't see them doing it. I think that they have their eyes only on deluxe and DVC at this point, unfortunately for the fans and people who are looking to go and visit the parks, that are looking to stay at something maybe a little more affordable. And they're just, I don't think they're in the market to build affordable rooms at the moment.
That's a good point. Rob, he's watching on YouTube. He says that, they don't want to build more rooms because they couldn't charge as much, which, again, supply demand,
True.
Right? If you don't have the, when the supply is down, the demand is high and you can charge. It's right. I mean, that is true. It's a very good point. In a name that I have not seen, I've talked to her a few times on social media.
I see it.
Not seen her here in the live recordings forever, and so glad to see Masayo, our great friend from over in Japan. Masayo, we have missed you. We're so glad to see you here. She says, but then what about the park reservations going on? Again, that's a whole nother thing. You'd have capacity for the theme parks. You have more people in the hotel rooms. But I just think, you don't have to have the resort should never be 100% sold out. Like, it's okay to have it at 90% where people have choices to kind of pick and choose. I don't know, maybe because I'm not a CEO, I'm not a businessman, so I'm probably terrible at this. I'm looking at it again. I always look at everything from a guest perspective. Scott, final words on this for the hotel.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I see that sometimes too. Like, I hear you always telling me, like, oh my gosh, I'm looking for these guests, and like I can't find anything these 2 or 3 weeks. I see this because I'll play around. I think we all like do daydreaming sometimes. Like, oh, what if I made a trip like this weekend? Like, what's available? And like, it's always nothing, right? But what gets me, you leave like the Magic Kingdom and you're on World Drive and there's this like sign that says need a place to stay. Like, I can't even remember the exact verbiage was like call like the reservation hotline if you need a room to stay.
Yeah, totally.
And I always think like you never have any rooms. Like,
right.
What if I call that number right now legitimately? Are you going to book me a room somewhere? Because I don't think you can, because I don't see anything online unless that they have like a secret stash that is just meant for that advertisement. Nope. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things
that gets me every time, Noah.
Yeah. No, that sign, I remember that. Yeah, no, the sign's 407W Disney. It's right there on World Drive.
It's right there on World Drive. You need a room, call this number. Like, I don't believe you.
They're going to call you and be like, sorry, sucker, keep moving.
It just takes you some recording that no one ever answers the phone. Right?
Yeah, not tonight. Yeah, it is. I just think, you just have to. Plus, I think you also have to kind of look at the demographics of it. Again, I know you can't build a hotel for like the economic situation you're in right now, right? But I mean, right now, I think it'd be very good for Walt Disney World to have values and moderates, because you would rather have people traveling on the value moderate side of things than not traveling at all because they just can't afford a deluxe. You'd rather have people in those rooms buying cheesecake, tie-dye cheesecake, going to your theme parks, buying, maybe one souvenir per kid rather than nothing at all because they just can't get in because they can't do a $500 a night room. I mean,
it's tying in this, like, and not to go like add on to like what you're doing wrong, add some more on-site benefits too, because
they definitely took away all those.
There's no rooms available, there's no real on-site benefits, so what stops them from going to another like off-site hotel? Like, they need more rooms and more benefits. It's not that hard.
And Tanja down in Tennessee, boom, right there at the exact same time in the chat, right there with the comment. My improvement is giving on-resort guests priority dining reservations again. She's missed that on her last 4 trips. Exactly. I mean, it's just, it's making you feel more special like you used to for being on property because you are a guest. And so give the guests more perks. You don't have to invent them. Just go back to what we had.
Same thing goes for the fact that, you can only, if you do evening, extra hours, you can only do those if you're a deluxe resort guest. I mean, why are we not allowing the people staying at the value and moderates, that ability to, like, it's anyway.
That's a discussion. We can continue on Sunday night's live call-in show. Scott's going to be out of town, but hey, I'll be with you. So give me a call on Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central, Facebook and YouTube. If you do not call in, it will be a short show.
Maybe I'll give you a call, Mike. Maybe I'll call you.
Will. Yeah, maybe I'll call Scott because it goes both ways. I can actually call out too. So yeah, just join us Sunday night and we'll do a live call-in show here in the podcast studios, Facebook and YouTube. See you then. Of course, don't forget today's show brought to you as always by the Magic for Less Travel. We are standing by right now to help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. So swing by the website today, check out all the great trip planning tools, and fill out that quote form. If you mention the show, that quote form does come to me, and we'll be working together on that trip, and I'd appreciate that. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click really does help support everything we do. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons. You are the heartbeat of the podcast. You make this all possible, and I thank you so very much for that. Our patrons get that bonus show, which isn't much, but it's kind of fun. It's Mike in the Midwest every Tuesday. So swing on by for that. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Follow all of Ricky's adventures on the social media. She's at Ricky Nibs, RIKKINIBS on Instagram and Twitter. You got to follow Scott. He's going to see Tom Brady down in Tampa tomorrow. So check that out. He's at Epscott, EPSCOT on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. I'll just be hanging out back in St. Louis, cutting the grass every other day. But hey, I'll try to make it fun. Maybe do a reels. Who knows? My life is kind of boring, but sometimes fun. I'd love to see you over there, and I'll catch you on Sunday night. All right, so let's get out of here and let's kick off that weekend right now. I got to get over to LS Tech, like I said at the top of the show. So for Ricky and Scott, I'm Mike. Wish you a great weekend. Whatever you do, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. We should send this to Disney. Good idea, Alfred. They
right. The Patreon is like the equivalent to DVC. You kind of like buy into this. You're invested in the BRS podcast.
There you go. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, if we send this to Disney, they would just put the little trash can in the corner.
Yeah, delete
of your Mac. Like,
we gave some good. It was constructive though. That's how you do a performance review.
And it was not just they should get rid of the theme park reservations, which of course I think we all agree with. But
Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah, but I mean, why pile on?
I know, right? Exactly.
Right. I didn't mean to go so long on my pre-trip stuff. I just kept going and going. I was like,
really. I mean, I think that was a good mix of kind of 50-50 show and good stuff. All right, well, hey, I will talk to you guys later.
See you guys.
Yep, take care.
I'll see you guys later.
Good to see you, Ricky.
Yeah, thanks. Bye, guys.